This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
Returning to our conversations this morning, we turn to a non-governmental organization, the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, CDHR, which is calling for the prosecution of former military ruler General Ibrahim Babangida, retired, over his role in the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential elections. Now, the CDHR believes that the annulment of the election stands as the worst injustice inflicted upon Nigerians. Joining the conversation this morning is Ugwumadu Malakai, a legal practitioner and a former national president of the CDHR. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on the conversation.
Good morning, for the opportunity to be with you again. I'm delighted to be here. Good morning, Nigeria.
Sir, why does the CDHR hold the position that the former military ruler needs to be prosecuted? Can you speak to us about that?
I think that is one of the very valid calls that have come out of Nigerians and civil society organizations. And that is for several reasons. The one is that there is no other definition for treason other than the takeover of government or the overthrow of government through means that are otherwise not constitutional. And that is precisely what Babangida and his cohort did. The 1993 presidential election was concluded and the results were known to be announced before it was cancelled by Babangida, taking responsibility in the last 23 years. So this is a time for atonement. If he has now found the courage to accept it, which is what all of us have always known and have shouted house about, including the fact that one of the principal participants in the military circle, when he had the opportunity to preside over this country, talking about President Muhammadu Buhari, had gone beyond the ambivalence they all suffered and gave MKO Abiola a posthumous award and honor as a past president of this country. So if you scuttled and torpedoed the collective will of the Nigerians through an election, whether at infancy or when it has taken off, that is treason. We must expand the definition of treason to include that in the circumstances that we have found ourselves. And you see, this is not the only cause that we are making. But Babangida and his mates to face prosecution, it is immaterial whether he will be convicted, but he must be prosecuted. That way we will find closure to this madness. That way we will fully appreciate the weight of the indiscretion that is suffered, the wickedness and the havoc it wreaked on the Nigerian people. Thousands of Nigerians were killed. Very many unsung heroes were shot, and the corpses.
So, Mr. Malakai, my apologies for interrupting you, but considering the fact that these actions actually took place under a military rule, do you expect the democratic principles to apply now?
Well, we are now under a civilian dispensation or a civil dispensation. And we are saying that you are first a Nigerian before you become a military man. In any case, whatever it is, there is treason as an offense against this country. It doesn't matter whether you wear khaki or you have dropped. Once you are cited for it, you go in for it. In any case, we are also pushing, and this is a very informed call, that if he has gathered all the beneficiaries of his rule, who were able to raise approximately 17 billion naira in one fell swoop, the entirety of that money should be given to the victims of his atrocities. Make no mistake about it. Retribution is part of the healing process in any sane society. Justice is the only condition for peace. It is a threshold matter.
Right.
And this cause coming 22 years after may sound far from, but they are very minimal in relation to the atrocities that were committed in those horrible years. A woman, an armless woman, Kudirat Abiola, was shot on the streets of Lagos by the same people. Thousands of unsung heroes were killed.
So, if I may, Mr. Malachi, I do understand what you talk about, what you mean when you talk about the calls for prosecution, but correct me if I'm wrong. Has the statute of limitations on this particular conversation run out? Because I'm not the legal practitioner, but I think that prosecution is typically commenced within 2 years of an offense such as treason being committed.
Well, let me enlighten, and I'm happy that you are quite modest about it when you say you are not a lawyer. There is no statute of limitation with respect to criminal action. In fact, some of us, even as young undergraduates, have been insisting that Babangida should one day be taken to the International Criminal Court for prosecution. Once the facts are available, and they are coming out gradually, and I hope God will preserve his life to face the music that he dished out to the Nigerian people, many of whom did not have the opportunity of prosecution, as we are calling for now. They were killed summarily. There is no statute of limitation with respect to criminal matters. There are statutes of limitations with respect to civil matters. If you're talking on land matters, you don't do it beyond 12 years. If it is defamation, you don't do it beyond 3 years. If it is, and so on and so forth. There is none for criminal matters. So if we discover and find with more credible evidence,
right,
as the facts are coming out now, those who killed Telegiwa, for instance, the prosecution can start tomorrow. You remember what happened to Augustus Pinochet of Chile? You remember what happened to Taylor of Liberia? You remember what happened to so many of them? So there is no statute of limitation, and that is why I think that the call is not just legitimate, it is valid.
Right. Well, Mr. Malachi, thank you very much for your time and expertise on this conversation. Ugwummadu Malachi is a legal practitioner and a former national president of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, and he joins us this morning to speak on the CDHR's call for the prosecution of former military head of state Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, who recently released a book that detailed, amongst other things, his role in the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential elections. You're still on to Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. We urge you to stay tuned to your Beyond the News station. In a few short moments, we'll be bringing you today's edition of News Extra. Good morning.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.